Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and in this video, I want to give you guys my draft recap for the New York Knicks. As you guys know, I made a video based on each player last night, my live reaction. But in this video, I'm going to talk about all four players that we got, talk about the trades that Leon Rose and company made, and just give you guys my overall thoughts of what the New York Knicks approach was last night in the NBA draft. I feel like they did a great job. I'm excited to get into it. If you guys are new to Knicks Media, please do not forget to smash that subscribe button. And if you want to check me out over on Instagram and Twitter, that is at NYKnicks_media. And if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to thumbs it up. With that being said, let's jump right into the video. So before I hop in, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the continued support on Knicks Media. For those guys that don't know, my first ever video on this channel was the NBA draft last year when we drafted Immanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin, and I've been posting consistent content ever since then. So the NBA draft is kind of like a time where I always remember the beginning stages of Knicks Media. And for those guys that's been there from the beginning, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to Knicks Media. It means a lot to me. And those videos last night, you guys killed it. You guys are hitting the thumbs up, commenting your thoughts. The views are crazy. I just want to take a moment and say how much I appreciate Knicks Nation and the Knicks community, and to be able to be a part of the Knicks community. It really does mean a lot to me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Knicks fans, we are here, and let's get right into the video. So let's talk about Quentin Grimes first. He was the first round pick, but before we get into that, let's talk about the trades, because going in, obviously, we had the 19th and 21st overall picks in the first round, so we were anticipating, honestly, a trade up. Going into the draft, a lot of Knicks fans, well, a lot of reporters were, saying there's rumors that the Knicks want to trade up. They want this player, they want that player, they got to go up to 13, 12, and none of that happened. We get to 19, and all the players that the Knicks loved seemed like they were off the board. So that caused the New York Knicks to trade the 19th overall pick to the Charlotte Hornets for a future first-round pick with a lot of protections. So what that tells me is whoever was on the board at 19, the Knicks did not feel super comfortable with that, so they wanted to wait a little bit, get a first-round pick for the future that maybe they can package that in a trade, or you never know, they can use it down the line. I really feel like this Knicks front office has a mindset for the future rather than just go all in this year. Obviously, they were at 19. They saw who was on the board, and they did not fall in love with anybody. So instead, they wanted to acquire more assets for the future. Instead of using the first round this year, they said, okay, let's get us a first-round pick in the future, and maybe we can use that to compile draft picks for, a trade. Because you never know. There's superstars demanding trades every single year. We know that, and the Knicks want to compile their assets in order where if that happens, they want to be able to trade. They want to be able to have enough ammunition to get the job done, because obviously the Knicks are going to be preferred destination since we are coming off a season where we exceeded expectation, the 4th seed in the East, coach of the year, most improved player, Julius Randle. So there's a lot of things trending in the right direction for the Knicks, and it's just so refreshing that we do have a long-term mindset with this Knicks front office. And yes, I know Knicks fans are a little frustrated from last night because we're waiting all the way till 19 and we traded for a future first-round pick. We're like, what the hell? We've waited so long. We want a player. And then we're like, okay, let's go. Let's wait till 21. We get to 21 and we trade it again. So obviously Leon Rose and company, they love playing chess. They love trading. They wanted to trade up, but it seemed like they could not trade up. Whoever they were on the phone with trying to trade up, they did not want to go backwards. They wanted to get whoever was on the board where they were picking. So the Knicks at 21, they decide, okay, there's no one on the board right now that we love. We love Quentin Grimes, but right here will be a little too much of a reach at 21. So why don't we trade back a couple spots to 25 and let's get a future second-round pick, and then we'll take our guy in Grimes at the 25th overall spot. And if you guys remember last year's NBA draft, we had the 23rd pick. We traded that back 2 spots to the 25th overall pick, and we took Immanuel Quickley. And at the time, Immanuel Quickley looked like a reach. Like the moment we drafted him, I'm talking about. A lot of NBA analysis were saying like Immanuel Quickley is a second-round pick. I don't know why the Knicks are reaching on him. And how did that work out? A lot of people were saying the same thing about Grimes. When we initially drafted him, some NBA analysts were like, Grimes is a good basketball player, he's a good prospect, but he's more of an early second-round pick on my board. I don't know why the Knicks took him at 25. Well, hey, if the Knicks love a player, they don't care where they're drafting him. They move back, they got future draft capital, and they got their guy in Quentin Grimes. So now let's talk about what he's going to bring to the table. What I noticed from Quentin so far, looking at his tape and going over him as a person, is he can create his own jump shot at an efficient level, an elite level. We need that in the NBA. In order to take the next step as a shooter in this league, where this NBA is trajectory going, You need to be able to create your own jump shot, and you need to be able to do more than just catch and shoot opportunities. The amount of highlights I've seen of Grimes having the ball in his hands, putting it on the floor, sizing somebody up, step back contested jump shot is ridiculous. His pull-up game is elite. You can see how smooth and buttery his jump shot looks, and not to mention he's also a very good defender. So you can tell what the Knicks are trying to do here. They're trying to get 3-and-D guys that are going to come and make an immediate impact, and I feel like Quentin Grimes, the guard, is going to play for the Knicks this season. He's going to have a big role on this Knicks squad in the 2021-2022 season. And if we go over his stats last year at Houston, 17.8 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 2 assists per game, 40% from the field, 40% from downtown, 1.4 steals. So obviously, with the first thing that jumps out to me, 17.8 points per game is a lot in college. Also, 40% from downtown is very good, especially when you can look at how many shots he took. He shot a lot. It's not like he's somebody that shoots here and there, 2 or 3 shots per game. Quentin Grimes is a volume shooter. He chucks up at least 5 or 6, 7 3-pointers per game, and he shot them at a high rate. The jump shot is very good, and that's only going to be something that's going to get better throughout his career. We saw what the Knicks did this year as a team shooting from downtown. Everybody was just unbelievable. I don't know whether it was the coaching staff, it was the system, or just the work ethic. Julius Randle went from 27% from 3 to 41% from 3. RJ Barrett went from 32% to 40%. Derrick Rose was shooting well from downtown. There were so many players on the Knicks last year that was shooting the ball so well from the three-point land, so they want to make sure they're getting more sharpshooters in the draft to develop over time. And I just love that we got Quentin Grimes because he also brings that defensive element. You know that Tom Thibodeau is going to love utilizing Quentin Grimes. He has the physicality. He has the length. He has the wingspan. He can match up against you. He's a physical guy, so he's going to bruise you. So you can tell that Quentin Grimes is a Tom Thibodeau player. I don't care where he was drafted. I just look at him. The first thing that I thought of in my head is like, this guy is going to fit the Thibodeau system perfectly, and I love that the New York Knicks went out there and got him. Another thing about Grimes is his trade value, or excuse me, his draft stock skyrocketed after the NBA draft combine. He went off. He looked like the best player on the court when they had the scrimmage, and he was going crazy. If you guys want to check out those highlights, look up Quentin Grimes NBA draft combine highlights, because he looked like the best player on the floor, nailing three-pointers like it was nothing. So Quentin Grimes, I feel like he's going to be a player that's going to provide a big impact for the Knicks this season. So now let's get into the second round. We go to the 32nd overall pick, and what does the Knicks do? We trade it back once again, and we acquire two second-round picks in the front of the second round. So Leon Rose loves to trade. We at 32, we trade back with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He flips the 32nd overall pick to picks 34 and 36. So we essentially get, instead of drafting one guy at 32, we get to draft two guys in the front of the second round. So the first guy we got is Rokas from Lithuania. I'm not going to say his last name because I know I'm going to botch it. I will get it eventually. Don't you guys worry. But this guy is a lefty crafty shooter who I think is going to be a guy who can, still play overseas for a couple years. He can come to the Knicks maybe a year down the line, or if he plays this year, you never know. He's a crafty left-handed shooter that played very well for Lithuania. For those guys that followed LaMelo Ball when he was playing overseas, he's dropped 31 points against LaMelo, so you know that he is a guy that plays well against top-tier competition. He's someone that's going to develop over time, and I love that. The Knicks got someone that is going to be coming to the Knicks in the future. They're getting like players that are going to make an impact now, but they're also getting players that are going to make an impact for the future, and that's very refreshing for the New York Knicks, something that I'm not really used to with the Knicks front office. I'm used to the Knicks being a team that always goes, just thinks now in the future, in the short term. But this Knicks team is thinking long term and short term, and that's what we got to do to build a sustainable winner. So Rokas is gonna be a lefty crafty shooter. He can drive to the rim, put up a floater. He can finish through contact, and he also has a very smooth jump shot from downtown. And I feel like Rokas will be a Knicks fan favorite whenever he comes to the Knicks. So now let's get into the next draft pick, which was the 36th overall pick, which was Miles McBride, 6'2", tough, pesky defender, who also his nickname is Deuce. I love this kid. I really thought he was going to be on the Knicks radar at 19 or 21 or 32. We end up getting him at 36. If there's one player in this draft that fits the Tom Thibodeau system the most, it is this guy right here, because he is a pesky, tough, long, lanky defender that can match up against anybody. He went up against Cade Cunningham and he locked him down. Had a sequence where he stole the ball from him twice. He dunked on Cade Cunningham. He's a guy that loves the bright lights. He's a tough guy. He also offensively, obviously it's not That's not his prowess. He's not someone that's going to be able to take it to the rim and finish through contact efficiently, but he did shoot the ball very well from the field last year. 43% from the field and 41.4% from downtown. So it's not like he can't shoot the ball. He's more of a 3-and-D point guard, and I feel like Miles McBride, or should I say Miles Deuces McBride, is going to make an impact this season for the New York Knicks simply because of his defense. Tom Thibodeau wants to bring in guys that he can develop over time to mold his defense, because we know that the Knicks defense this year took a step, top 3 in the NBA with so many different categories, and we're only going to get better. We want tough guys in the system. That's exactly what the Knicks did. I love this draft pick with Miles Deuces McBride, one of my favorites of the entire draft class for the New York Knicks. And then the last guy that we got is Jericho Sims, 6'10", 22 years old, out of Texas. He is a freakishly athletic center who I think is going to provide a big impact for the Knicks this season if he gets playing time. I think his role could be the backup center, or he could be the situational role, where if, say, Mitchell Robinson's the center, and then say we sign a free agent center, then maybe Jericho Sims is that guy that comes in off the bench if one of those two gets injured, or Jericho Sims could be the G League and get playing time down there. You never know. So Jericho Sims is kind of very similar to Mitchell Robinson. He's a lob city threat, somebody that can go up there, catch the alley-oops, block you, standing dunks, finish at the rim. He obviously can't shoot at 6'10". He's somebody that doesn't really have the ability to finish outside of the rim, but in the paint, he's dominant. He's a freak athlete, high flyer, like lob city threat, and I feel like he's somebody that Knicks fans are gonna love because he reminds me honestly of Mitchell Robinson. So that's my thoughts of the 4 draft picks from the New York Knicks last night. Leave a comment down below of your thoughts. I feel like the Knicks hit a home run in this draft. I honestly feel that way with all the maneuvers, trading down, acquiring assets for the future, and getting win now pieces like Quentin Grimes and Miles McBride, and then getting pieces for the future like Rokas. I really feel like this Knicks front office is doing a phenomenal job. Hats off to Leon Rose. Comment down below your thoughts of the Knicks draft class. Give us a grade, what you guys think. Like the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below a Statue of Liberty emoji if you stayed into the end. And let's go Knicks. I'll catch you guys in my next one. Peace.